Hey, ¿qué onda, everybody? This is the Bicho from The Voice MMA, and we have a special guest. God, this guy was terrorizing the 170-pound division for a long time, not only in the UFC, but in Bellator and many other places. We have with us Jon Fitch. Jon, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
All right, excellent, excellent, very, very good. I'm glad that you are here. Um, so Jon, I wanted to ask you right off the bat, man. It's something that concerns me as an MMA fan. Why hasn't there been a Muhammad Ali act for MMA?
Well, we've been trying. We've been trying for a while. We actually had a subcommittee hearing a few years ago, and um things were moving along. But Dana has gotten very buddy with Trump. He's paying a lot of money to the campaign. They're working together. Um, and we have two major problems that have happened in the last 5 years or so. One is um that subcommittee hearing, it was supposed to come up for a vote, and then it would have been gotten passed along to the Senate. So we were on the doorstep, but Trump had his whip, the guy who's the lead of the subcommittee. He had him bury it. So they put it at the bottom of the pile. They don't get a chance to vote on it during that session, and then it needs to be reintroduced the next session. So we're in a
Wow.
position where we were not finding somebody to reintroduce the bill, partially because Trump is blocking it and his people are blocking it. On top of that, we have some lot of employees and laborers are having a lot of issues now because one of Trump's Supreme Court justices has ruled, or the Supreme Court has ruled that um, making people sign waivers to join class action lawsuits are legal. So now companies are forming these things that are forcing people into arbitration and preventing them from joining class action lawsuits. Thanks, man.
Oh,
which
wow.
which is a huge hurdle. And this isn't, I'm not some partisan whatever. I'm not some kind of Democrat who's going to be like, oh, I just don't like Trump. I'm just stating things that happened. Those things happened, right? I voted for Trump twice. So, if that's just the roadblock that we've run into, is a political one. It's also part of the problem with the class action lawsuit that we had, is the second class, the Johnson class, which started in 2017 to present day. A lot of those guys, more than 50% of those guys, had to sign waivers saying that they would file all complaints through arbitration, and that they would not join any class action lawsuits.
Oh, wow. Jesus
which
Christ.
sounds
Can you even
super which
legally
sounds
do that?
super illegal to me, because they're like,
Yes.
hey, well, I'm going to give you a job, and I may rob you, I may steal you blind, I may do you over bad, but you have to sign this saying that you can't do anything about it.
Oh man, that is just such terrible practice. And well, I wanted to ask you because you know that lawsuit happened. Of course, they settled out of court, and Jon Fitch, even the judge says this is a ridiculous low amount to settle out of court. I remember I read it somewhere, probably
Well, he was unsure why he needed the lawyers. That's why he rejected um the first proposal for a settlement, was because he was unsure why the league class was getting such a small amount of money after he had gave them class certification for 800 million to 1.6 billion dollar lawsuit. So he was looking for better education, and he wanted the lawyers to explain it to him more. He also thought that because there's such a larger amount of guys in the league class compared to the Johnson class, because of those waivers, and because those guys in the league class have been involved and neck deep in it for a much longer period of time, uh, that group should have gotten more of the split from the two classes.
okay, okay. But I mean, you have probably more inside knowledge than I ever will. Has Have the contract structures changed because of the lawsuit? Has it impacted anything, or is it still like ironclad?
There are some minor adjustments made to the contracts um for a short period of time, for about 5 years. I think they're going to keep the the um the sunset clause, the one that got Francis Ngannou out of the UFC. I think they're going to keep that for a little bit, but like again, very very limited in changing the business structure. And now a lot of that has to do with us not having the pressure because of those waivers in the second class. We got delayed a lot in our lawsuit. So for to get the judicial um, changes in contracts and their business practices, they would have had to reopen discovery for the Johnson class and re-go through all of the stuff that we'd already been through, and we would have been another 7 to 10 years down the road and sitting in the same position, not even sure if they would get class certification again.
Oh wow, that that's just heartbreaking. I mean, you know, life isn't fair, and this just seems to be oh,
Yeah,
this
I
just
mean,
seems to be
end
terrible.
of the day, I hope this wakes guys up. I hope this wakes guys up because if they're willing to give you this much money, they had way more money to give. You're way more valuable than you think, and if you actually come up and say something, like there is only what, like six named plaintiffs. What if we had 50 to 100 named plaintiffs who all came forward and all told their story and were all talking on social media and all talking on interviews and everywhere? How much more pressure there would be, how much more understanding there would be, and how much faster change would come if guys would stop being scared. Right? It really is about a fear that they have. Oh my God, what are they going to do to me? Because I don't know why they don't think their names are as valuable as they are. But if more people came forward, things would move way faster if guys threw in their support. I hope a lot of guys who are getting big paychecks from the settlement will come forward and help pay forward some of the money that they've gotten, um, from other people who did a lot of work to get there.
Yeah, it just seems so. And then the way you explained it to me about, well, you know, Trump just puts the bill at the bottom of the pile. This kind of reminds me of. Have you ever seen Casino, where Robert De Niro couldn't get his license or whatever, and then they just put it at the bottom of the stack? It
It's
is
a
that
similar type of thing,
happening?
yeah, because there's like deadlines to get things done, and you have to do things within a session of Congress. So if the session ends, anything that didn't get addressed has to be re-entered to the next session. So
Oh
we had 58 signatures. It was a co-sponsored bill. We had both sides of the party. We had support from people from the original the Black Caucus, which was a big supporter of the original Ali Act. We had a lot of people who were for it and helping out, and it just sucks, and that's the problem when people don't show up in numbers, they're always going to go with the money. The people are always going to go with the money because it's like, yeah, well, nobody showed up. Nobody's going to care if I just take this money and keep things the way it is.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, man. And you see a lot of these guys. I mean, there's like this top five guys like Cannonier, Jared Cannonier. He says, "Hey man, I'm broke. I got to fight and you know, I'm just broke." But the thing is, they also say, you know, you got to have some kind of cachet, some panache, some kind of character. Fitch, how important is it to
I, they say that, but name another sport you have to have that.
Okay, yeah. So how
Name another. No, you could be the most boringest, awful person in the world, but if you're winning, you move forward. That's sport. I don't care what anybody else wants to cry and moan about. That's sport. Boo hoo. You get the same thing. You go with boxing. Some of those, I don't think Floyd Mayweather was exciting. I didn't think he was exciting to watch at all. But I will never take away that he's probably one of the greatest, one of the top defensive fighters, and he won fights and he beat all the top guys. And people watch him fight because people want to see the best guy fight, just like they want to see the best guy play in the Super Bowl. They don't want to see just the most popular. That's entertainment of the stars, boxing of the stars. That's pro wrestling, And you can have those events, that's fine. But we need mandatories. We need stuff like the Ali Act, which is when it's going to force cross promotion. It's going to force independent titles, independent rankings, and the boxers and the fighters. I mean, the fighters should own, like the boxers do. They own their rank. If you're ranked something, well, you're ranked 15th. You're 15th, and that means you should fight guys similarly ranked to you to move up the ladder. It's not, oh, well, this guy's popular and that guy's popular. Let's throw them together. You actually have a merit-based system, and we're slipping further away from merit-based systems everywhere.
Well, yeah, if it was purely based on merits, I think you would have gotten a title a long time ago. Bilal Muhammad is just now getting his title shot.
And
Um,
I gotta say, that's the weakest, most pathetic spectator type thing to ever say. Is like, oh, you want to fight, but it wasn't exciting enough for me, so you shouldn't get to move forward. That's like the most like sniveling brat loser mentality ever. Like you literally just beat somebody up in a fight by the rules, but I wasn't good enough. I'm sad my guy lost and it's not what it wanted to be. Like it's the MMA fans are not actually fans, I don't think. I don't think they're fans of anything. I think they're professional haters and they're never pleased with anything ever. They're the most miserable bunch of cunts ever.
look, they said it a long time ago. MMA fans are fickle as fuck. I
They're
mean,
not fickle. They're mentally retarded.
I agree. I agree to a certain degree because, hey, man, I'm a MMA fan too. I don't, but I just don't fall into the whole, oh my God, Dana White said it, so it's the law type thing. It's, it's just something else. At
It,
least my way of looking at it.
yeah, I love fights. I love the fighters. I love combat sports. I hate it when people try to compare this sport and that sport together because they're two different things. You might as well compare, race car driving and soccer. Oh, this Messier is such a great soccer player. We should put him in F1. I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb also to say you're an MMA fan and not like grappling or ground stuff. Like you're not a fan. It's like me going to a soccer match and yelling, "Boo, pick up the ball, use your hands. This is boring." Like I'm at the wrong arena. I'm not a
Right.
soccer fan if that's what I'm yelling.
Right. I agree with you. Yeah. Most of the people that most of the people that watch it is just, yes, it's been said before, probably by the biggest shill of them all, Chael Sonnen, where he's like, well, you gotta sell it, you gotta sell it.
In
Brings
pro
me
wrestling, you have to sell. If you're a carny joker who's trying to rip people off, that you have to sell. If it's a good sport and people are fans, it sells itself. None of these
Yes.
arguments they make go across the board. They don't match up with any other sport, any other thing.
Well,
And
they
then if
want it.
they some of them try to attack boxing, but boxing is doing record numbers. They've had amazing shows. They had a unification title last year. Like 2023 was one of the best years in boxing in a long time, and it's been progressively getting better every year since the Ali Act in 2000. They got more viewership, more people watching, more events, more fighters, more titles, more everything, more people competing. It's a freer market. Yes, sometimes corrupt things happen, but you usually have some actionable way of dealing with that legally that doesn't exist in MMA at all. And there's no hardly any cross promotion at all in MMA, and there's never been a unified title in MMA.
Well,
So like people can just blow their brains out, honestly, over this. Well, boxing's dead and nobody likes it. No, it's bull crap. Bull crap. They do crazy numbers. The Shakir Steve, I just saw a thing about the Shakir Stevenson uh fight. If I could look at it. I saw it up on Twitter or something. And they did like record numbers.
yeah, they did a pretty good game, and Shakur
And
Stevenson.
it was like boring. They had good numbers, but it was kind of a boring fight.
Well, I mean, not all of them can be home runs.
I know, but like just saying, like people trying to say that boxing isn't like good, and it's wild to me. It's absolutely wild the claims that people make with absolutely zero evidence of their claims. Because even somebody who isn't a super exciting big draw fighter like Shakur Stevenson still sells tickets. He still has people showing up to the arena. He still is doing good numbers on TV. So like, what are they even talking about? They're just repeating something they heard a promoter say once, and it's a talking point.
Yes.
They've never looked into it. They have no idea what the numbers are. They continue to make the claim that MMA fighters make more money than boxers do, except for the top guys. No, that's not true at all. Like boxers make more money than MMA fighters at every step of the way, except the 85 to 95 percentile. And that's a tiny amount of guys. And that's a little bit, that's the 10 and 10, 12s and 12s. That's a little bit of guys making a little bit of money, right? Like it's a bizarre, untrue thing that everybody likes to repeat and talk about. And I'm no like boxing guru, but just from as a casual boxing spectator, someone who likes combat sports, I can see that. I can see that boxing hasn't gone anywhere. You can even find articles um from the newspaper from like 100 years ago, early 1900s, where the press is like boxing's dead, this is the end because these two guys won't fight. It's like that it's a promoter tactic they've used for a long time to goat fighters into fighting each other and for less money than they're worth.
Yes. Well, I agree with that. Of course, man. Is Well, since ever since UFC got bought up by TKO and everything, we've noticed that Hunter Campbell is kind of like the main guy at the UFC. Uh, Dana's more kind of like a puppet kind of figure, man. I mean, from my point of view, my question is, will things change when this motherfucker leaves, man? When Dana White
Oh,
leaves?
it's only going to get worse.
Oh no.
It's only going to get worse because these guys, like WME, look at who these people are. They're the people who like represented Harvey Weinstein. These people are like Ari Emanuel. His brothers worked for in presidential cabinets, and one was an embarrassed like uh, mayor of Chicago, and like their father was a an Israeli terrorist.
What?
Israelis list him as a terrorist. Yes,
Oh shit.
like
Wow.
eh, like they're the whole like all the dirty crap about the Fertitas. Imagine a time on a global scale. Like Fertitas were local mobsters,
Yeah.
allegedly. Their father was allegedly. This is a global mafia, allegedly.
Yeah, they're pretty much involved with a certain religious country. You know what I'm talking about, the Jews. Of course they are Jews, but Jesus, man, when you said that, I for sure was gonna thought I for sure thought you were gonna say, man, when once Dana White leaves, it's gonna get a little bit better because he's just
Oh
so.
no.
Oh
No,
God.
because they're locking in their thing. It's like it's both political ends of the spectrum. It's a uniparty. Everything's monopolized, right? Government monopolized, entertainment's monopolized, TKO. They're buying up huge swaths of entertainment, right? It's not an accident. And the more things get centralized, the more power gets centralized, the worse things get. Because why do you have to do a good job if there's no competition?
Exactly. And the fans they'll just take it. They'll be like, "Look, this is what we got. Take it or leave it." And it's gotten to the point where like, fuck, we're forced to watch. Well, not forced, but we're watching. I don't know, number 6 versus the champ instead of actually number 1 and 2. It's
Yep.
just
We're not even number six, number 20. Number somebody who's not even shouldn't even be ranked.
I
Like
agree.
I'm sorry to say, I'm a big fan of Alex Pereira. I am, but I have got a feeling that uh a number of years ago when there were more wrestling based guys at 205, he wouldn't be top 10. But because of the way that they have um signed contracts to guys who don't really wrestle, they have incentivized guys not to wrestle. Like he's a kickboxer coming into what's supposed to be MMA, but really just translate into small gloves kickboxing. And of course he's going to dominate that. Where are the Cormiers? Where Jones at heavyweight, but what Jones at 205 if he decides to wrestle? Like what happens? Even Anthony Johnson, Rumble back in the day. What if he decides to wrestle because he could wrestle a little bit? There's a number of guys that had better wrestling. Hell, Tito Ortiz. Like Tito Ortiz in his prime at 205 All he's got to do is that
Yeah.
one takedown around,
And the
shove
way
him in the
that
fence, and
Adesanya
shove him in the fence until he
controlled.
elbows him. Like I just don't. It's weird to me that we're watching the sport and calling it a sport. It's regulated as a sport, but I don't think it really operates as a sport at all. I think it's a production. It's a television show. They're casting roles and making people fight in a chance to win brain damage.
Well, yeah, at least it's not power slap because that is
Well,
just
that's the
atrocious.
that's the next stage of the evolution of exploitation, right? Because they get the athletic commissions to regulate these things as a sport. Like, make no doubt about it that that's because it's a sport that they're regulating it,
Wait. I'm
and they have
sorry
to
to cut
keep
you
the
off. Wait,
athlete. They have to
wait.
keep the athlete safe, and it's definitely not a sport. And they're doing it because they get the quick the quick view real money, right? So it's you have just short outtakes from the slaps, and those go up in people's timelines, and people that's what people watch. People don't actually tune in to watch power slap. Nobody goes to an event.
I was just
And,
gonna
and
say,
that's what they want, because then they can host their power slap events in something like Apex Arena, and less than 2,000 people show up. It's in house. They get all their footage for the week, and then they hardly have to pay the athletes anything. The careers are probably terribly short because they get brain damage really quick, and then just bring in a new group of people. It's like exploiting poor people to entertain poor people.
yeah, I mean, I have to play. I have to plead dumb here, Fitch. I've never seen a power slap event because it's stupid. But
No, if they're come
it's
across my timeline all the time. I've never looked for one. I've never tried to watch one,
yeah.
but they're always popping into my feed for some reason.
I didn't even know that it was sanctioned by any commission. I just thought it was, Dana doing
Yeah,
his.
they went to California, had a meeting. Rob Macy, who's got a legal license here in California to be a lawyer, practice law in California. He went to the event. He gave a big speech. He brought a bunch of documentation about brain studies and how bad it is for people. And the commission deleted everything from the permanent record. So it was like he was never showed up,
Wow. And
which is illegal, I believe.
yeah, what the.
I don't think you're allowed to strike that stuff from public records, but they did. Then they went to Texas, and Texas didn't even look at any of the medical reports, and they didn't even listen to anybody talking anti power slap. So it's getting sanctioned there. This is just it's gross. It's grossly obvious what they're doing. It's a quick money grab to make people retarded, and then they'll cash out and be gone.
Yes, because like I said, I've never watched I've never even looked for one. I prefer more, I don't know, man, Lux MMA on Friday nights, or even the one Friday night fights.
Yeah, those are
Absolutely
good. Like
fantastic.
the small gloves Muay Thai is unbelievable. If you like stand up fights and MMA gloves, that's what you should be watching. Stop getting mad at MMA fighters doing groundwork. All right, you're watching the wrong sport. Just go over there. They're there like every Friday. The Haggerty is an amazing
Yes,
kickboxer.
the
The small
general.
gloves, some of the ties they bring over. These guys are monsters.
Yes, fantastic fights. And like I said, man, Friday nights, I usually watch either Lux because I'm Mexican promotion. I really enjoy it, or
Mhm.
uh, one Friday night fights, which is
Mhm.
absolutely fantastic. Now, wait a minute, Fitch, you also mentioned John Jones here, and we've been talking about the little bald guy from the UFC. So my question is, what does John Jones have on these people that they just gotta protect them? Because any MMA fan that has been in the sport for a while knows what's happening. They know that they are protecting the Jones. What does Jones have on these people, or what do you think is the reason why
I
they're
I don't
just
think for one
so?
second. I don't think for one second it has anything to do with them protecting John Jones. It's them protecting their narrative. They want their storyline, and they have to protect their storyline in order to make the money they want to make. And that's the most important thing to them. They think that just pushing that down the road, kicking that can down the road of Stipe and Jones, that's fulfills their narrative, because it's not just that single fight. It's John Jones beating the most winning champion in UFC heavyweight history, right? It's more about the story. They need the story to tell for even when Jon Jones is gone, because they're going to be telling his story and their version, their revised history of his story for many years to come, repackaging it and reselling it over and over and over again. So they need their story to play out the right way.
Oh, it's just well,
It's pro wrestling, but there's a little bit of scare for them, and because they can't control everything, they can't control the outcome. They can leverage it as much as they want to, but at the end of the day, they can't control the outcome. So they can't risk Jones fighting Aspinall, because then that derails their story and probably millions and millions and millions of dollars down the road of what they could make off of telling that story over and over again.
Mm, okay, yeah, because like anybody that's watching this, I talk to MMA fighters all the time. I train, and I don't know a single person that is interested or vested in this Jones Stipe
Nope.
thing. Nobody wants to see it, man. There's,
Nope.
and he gets so upset and defensive
No, they're
about it.
they're gonna push it. They're pushing it. Like Jones is upset. I can understand why he's upset, because he doesn't have a choice, right? He's supposed to be this big bad tough guy, the pound for pound greatest fighter ever, but he doesn't have a choice in his career. It sounds kind of like a bitch, doesn't it? Like you're supposed to be this badass, awesomest guy. You've made shit ton of money, but like you're still bossed around by this fat sack of crap that beats his wife.
Right.
Like,
But Jones
like
beats his wife too.
they hang out together. But like, so it's just, and I think, yeah, we kind of miss out on it right now, but like 10 years after Jones is retired, they'll still be telling the story about how he fought Stipe Miocic and he's the pound for pound greatest. And they'll leave out all the other stuff. They'll leave out how long it took or how old he was or whatever. They'll just tell the story. And then
Hmm.
you'll get your Jon Jones, greatest fighter ever plushie for whatever special price with your ticket stub.
Yes, Jesus Christ. And they also have, because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and they also have the whether there were we were talking about the salary, and they also have this
There's
thing
no
called,
salary. There's no salary. We get purses. It's a purse. You win a purse.
right. But still, you have this thing called a fight week incentive where, hey man, if you don't do media obligations, if you don't play nice with the fans, if you don't,
Yep.
we're not going to give you, X amount of money or this and that. It's they got them by the balls, man.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah, no, they
sucks.
do. They literally have them by balls. And you have yeah, you have to, if you have a legal dispute with them, you have to go to arbitration, which means you have to go to one of their local judges, who somebody was trying to argue with me, were like, "Oh, they don't own the judges." Like, bull crap. They own most of Vegas. Like they bring in so much revenue for those people, they're not going to make them upset, because they've literally threatened other commissions like, "Hey, you do it our way or we'll just go somewhere else." And that's millions and millions of dollars taken out of that state.
Right. Yes, I fully agree with that. They turned
What
a
do you call
blind
it?
eye so
What do you
many
call it? It's
times.
called regulatory capture. Regulatory capture, right? Because the monopoly's gotten so big and they have so much sway and so much money that the regulators can't even do their job. Otherwise, they risk losing business from that monopoly.
Oh man, this is you drop these bombshells, and I don't think it gets enough traction or love, man. Like I said, I appreciate sharing this knowledge and story with us. So it's been a while since you were at AKA. How's Javier? You guys still have a pretty cool relationship, or?
Javier is hardly ever around. He's been traveling. He's out with Khabib. He's in Dubai and Dagestan and all kinds of other places. Like he's not around that much. Um, I've only recently stopped by AKA a few times to help Todd Duffy spar and get ready for his bare knuckle fights.
Oh,
Um,
Todd Duffy was a monster, man. He had a fight with is it Big Ben? Big Ben
yeah, Ben Rothwell. That's what I
Ben
was trying to
Rothwell.
help him get ready for a little bit. Um, But yeah, he's always running into injuries, which is sad. Such a big guy getting hurt a lot.
Man,
Um,
he had such potential. He was built he is built kind of like a
mhm,
He-Man figure, man. Just muscles just bulging out. He
mhm.
had so much potential, dude. Just Psst, no seas culé, suscríbete.